Hunker Down, a survivor's story. Chapter 1. When the footage leaked, I'd already stocked a year of food and 3 ways to purify water. My plan was simple: be no one, be nowhere. Then the building's guards smiled. Invisibility got complicated. The video arrived at 6 a.m. grainy lab footage showing a man in restraints receiving an injection. Convulsions. Screams that didn't sound human. Then stillness. When they released him, he lunged. Teeth sank into flesh. The bitten man rose minutes later in that distinctive, twisted posture. My friend Mara texted back. 3 post-production analysts confirmed it's authentic. I'd consumed enough zombie media to know the playbook. Running attracts attention. Alliances fracture. The clever get clever enough to get killed. But hiding, outlasting, that was achievable. I hit the supermarket and swept the shelves. Dried fruit, jerky, instant ramen, MREs, anything shelf-stable. The manager offered delivery when he saw 7 overflowing carts. Good timing. My boss Marcus traveled constantly, leaving his 5,000-square-foot penthouse empty. I maintained it. In return, I could live there rent-free. For a recent grad barely scraping by, it was perfect. I stashed food in the storage room, then ordered 100 5-gallon water jugs through Marcus's prepaid account. The penthouse already had advantages: heavy-duty steel security door, reinforced frame. But I needed power and clean water for the long haul. I'd researched residential solar systems months ago during a blackout scare. Marcus had even approved preliminary specs and partial installation, calling it disaster preparedness. Now I expedited the final components: panels, batteries, plus a 4-stage water filtration system sediment filter, carbon block, reverse osmosis, and UV sterilization as the final barrier. The invoices went to company reimbursement without question. I stockpiled medications through delivery apps, bought a coworker's leftover antibiotics at a premium, and told him to get home fast. Through tactical gear collectors, I acquired a compound bow, crossbow, knife, and tear gas canisters labeled crowd control irritant. Finally, I installed soundproofing panels in every room with mechanical noise. Silence would be survival. 6 days later, a cargo container burst open at the port. Dozens of infected poured out. I was hauling supplies home when an infected lunged from an alley into the mall entrance. The crowd scattered. I sprinted for the building, pushing my cart. Rhett, the security guard, was sealing the entrance barrier. When he saw I wasn't infected, he left a gap. I slipped through. The guard station wouldn't hold. Rhett was ex-military, built like he could bench press a car, and the kind of ally you want in an apocalypse. I invited him up. He grabbed my cart and me, and we hit the elevator. By the time we reached the penthouse, infected were shambling around the entrance. The barrier held for now. I showed Rhett the supplies. He looked skeptical. Did you really need this much? A week later, he stopped asking. We barricaded the door with Marcus's decorative statue, ate dinner, and crashed. At 4:02 a.m., a massive crash jolted us awake. An SUV had smashed through the barrier, its alarm shrieking. Infected swarmed the complex. From the balcony, we watched a household turn on their lights. In the darkness, it was a beacon. The horde charged. They shut the lights off, but the infected circled the building, pacing. They're drawn to light, Rhett said, and when the stimulus disappears, they just wait, like they're conserving energy. If they're conserving energy, they're still burning it, I said. Soft tissue will decompose. Enzymatic autolysis, scavenger load, desiccation. In city shade, mobility should collapse in 6 to 8 weeks, assuming no fresh feeding. Heat and desiccation will accelerate the process. Rhett frowned, but people will run out of food before then. Every person who goes outside risks infection. The horde gets replenished. He was right, and I hated that. Morning brought worse news. Residents had tried to escape, leaving the building door open. The infected rushed in. No one made it out. After Rhett's mood stabilized, I said, "We protect ourselves first. That way we're not a burden and can actually help when this is over." He nodded. Agreed. We hunker down. I pulled 2 tomahawk steaks from the freezer and made a mushroom rice casserole. We ate well. Rhett stared at the spread. This extravagant? We have supplies until next year. We eat the short shelf life stuff first. He grinned. Thank God you took me in. From now on, wherever you point east, I'll never go west. We invented zombie bingo, identifying infected by their former apartments. Then a dark shape plummeted from above someone mid-transformation, vomiting as they fell. They hit near our window, spattering it. If no infected got inside, they can't spread through bites, Rhett said. So that means water supply, we said simultaneously. I grabbed a test mouse and gave it water drawn from the pre-filter tap line. 10 minutes passed. Nothing happened. Oh, the filtration system. Forgot the intake line runs post-treatment. Rhett gave me a look. My phone vibrated. My supervisor's voice. Harper, we're using Marcus's apartment as an emergency shelter. When can you let us in? The man who'd made my work life hell now wanted my sanctuary. I switched to panic mode. Sir, one of the installation workers transformed. I've been hiding in the closet ever since. Please hurry. Click. He hung up. Rhett had heard everything. To head off judgment, I explained. He used seniority to dump his work on me. I worked late every single night. Rhett smiled. Didn't you tell me? We protect ourselves first. His words warmed me. I hugged him in gratitude and maybe to appreciate those muscles up close. He pulled away, looking awkward when he saw my expression. To make amends, I spent the afternoon teaching him VR games. That evening, heading to the kitchen for dinner ingredients, I found the fire escape door open. Only 2 keys existed, mine and Marcus's. Marcus was overseas. Rhett and I wired the door shut with a makeshift bolt, then nailed metal strips across it. After checking the kitchen inventory and finding only minor losses, we sealed it permanently. If someone took over while we investigated, we'd be locked out, I said. Can't risk it. Smart, Rhett said. I wasn't thinking strategically. As I cooked tomato beef soup and ham rice bowls, buzzing sounds drew us to the window. Modified vehicles entered through the damaged barrier, crude armor welded to frames, metal rods protruding from windows like medieval lances. They called themselves the Sweepers, announcing it over a megaphone as they stabbed at infected. Within minutes, most were cleared except a few slow movers they deliberately left. After resecuring the barrier, they announced, "We're here for rescue. Follow us to safety." An iron hook lowered to our window with a plastic bag. Inside, a walkie-talkie. Don't believe them. Don't go down. The voice was urgent. Why not? Rhett asked. Just watch. A quarter of the complex's survivors gathered on the central lawn. The sweeper leader emerged. Anyone entering the shelter must pass a test. We don't accept dead weight. His team released the captured infected. The survivors fought desperately. The walkie-talkie crackled. Since I saved you, share some water. I'll give you first notice of any news. I processed this. The delivery workers were downstairs fighting infected. This was someone else, someone who knew about our water. Our water's in the kitchen, I said randomly. Nonsense. He cut himself off. The locksmith, the person who'd opened our door. Before I could negotiate, he shouted, "Hide now." Rhett grabbed me. We ran to the dark water storage room. Buzzing surrounded us. Drone swarm, the voice said. At least 5 circling buildings. They're here for supplies. We need to block the downstairs fire escape, I said, panicking. Relax. This building's remote, only 3 of us here. The wealthy residents had advance warning and left a month ago. Damn rich people, I muttered. What about the guy who fell from upstairs? Rhett asked. Penthouse. Drank contaminated water. Went to the roof in his final moments. The buzzing faded. We crawled to the window. The sweepers were sorting survivors, recruiting the capable, crushing the bitten and infected under their vehicles. I sobbed softly. Rhett held me. After they moved to Building 1 to rest, the voice returned. I can see them settling in. We need to act fast. Meet us on the 13th floor fire escape, Rhett said. After we finish, we'll bring you water. Okay. We armed ourselves compound bow and knife for Rhett, 4 tear gas canisters for me. We moved the barricade and headed down. A pale figure waited in the stairwell. Something about him seemed odd, too pale, too still. Then I noticed the faint chemical smell, like resin. Why are you so pale? I blurted. Are you a vampire? Rhett covered my mouth. I'm Cade, hacker. I set up surveillance before the outbreak, but lacked supply awareness. I'm sorry I went to your place. How did you open the door? Rhett asked. Hacked the developer's files, 3 deprinted keys. That explained the resin smell. A tech genius. We headed downstairs smooth until the 2nd floor, where Cade pulled out a ring of keys. You made keys for every apartment? I asked. Didn't know who had supplies. Had to check them all. The second floor was under renovation. We grabbed cement bags, carried them to the first floor fire escape, and started mixing. Bang, bang, bang. Glass shattered. An infected pounded the door, leaving bloody handprints. We made a split-second decision. Rhett and Cade would crack the door. I'd fire the crossbow. 1, 2, 3. I aimed and fired. The bolt ricocheted off metal with a cling. "This zombie's wearing metal braces," I exclaimed. Rhett and Cade. The infected forced its head through, tearing skin. I pressed the crossbow to its forehead. Thunk. Gray-green matter oozed out. Cade stumbled away, dry heaving. Rhett and I examined the body. It had been crawling. We dragged it inside and found iron tubes welded around its legs, self-restraints from when the transformation began. "Righteous," Rhett said quietly, preventing himself from harming others. We finished sealing the door with cement, removed the handle, locked it, and poured cement in the keyhole. By dawn, we were exhausted but prepared. Back on the 13th floor, we gave Cade his water. It was a risk, but calculated he had skills we needed, and water was something we could spare. Before closing our door, I told Rhett, "We can't trust people too much. Keep your guard up." "I didn't realize you were so strategic," he said, impressed. Cade's voice crackled through the walkie-talkie. "Something's wrong. Surveillance picked up something heading toward us." "What?" "A horde." My stomach dropped. "Cade, Rhett, do you prefer sunny or shady burial plots?" Rhett punched my shoulder. "Why so pessimistic? What if they're just passing through? Big shelters always get attacked first in movies." He had a point. We watched and waited. Cade's voice. I like shady places." "Oh no, why are so many zombies here? Masses of infected broke through the barrier, flooding the complex. Yesterday when they killed the bitten, the blood smell attracted them," Cade said. "The horde followed the bloody tire tracks to the sweepers' building. Without blood scent to draw them further, they paced at the base. The sweepers panicked, then huddled to strategize. We need to sabotage them," I said, but my stomach was growling. "Better eat first." I opened self-heating hot pots and rice. The steamy vapor eased our tension. As I savored noodles, Rhett suddenly groaned, covering his eyes. "Rhett, what's wrong?" My mind raced. Was he transforming? "You splashed hot oil in my eye." He rushed to rinse it. "Me." "Prass. Are you trying to steal my eyes or something?" he asked, returning with one covered. "Rhett, be serious. I'm scared." Cade's voice interrupted. "They're planning to hang firecrackers on drones to lure the zombies away." We rushed to watch. They launched a drone with firecrackers toward the entrance. The horde followed the noise, then returned to the blood scent when it stopped. We logged 3 rules then. Loud, impulsive sounds pull hordes. When the noise dies, dried blood scent keeps them milling. Irritants scatter dogs but don't attract zombies. We'd have to plan around that. Next, the sweepers launched multiple drones, carrying massive firecracker loads toward our luxury section. The explosions attracted nearly all infected at full sprint. The group used the gap to race toward the exit. Sons of Rhett and I bit back curses. We'd be surrounded. But strangely, after the firecrackers stopped, the horde didn't stop moving. They slowly gathered where the blood smell was strongest, the entrance. Almost all infected concentrated there, leaving only stragglers deeper in. "We're safe," I breathed. "Don't celebrate early," Rhett said. "These were recently infected. They'll take time to decay. We'll run out of food before then. And what if another wave comes?" He was right, but exhaustion crashed over me. "Go sleep," Rhett said. "Cade and I will scavenge supplies." I collapsed into bed. When I woke at 9:15 p.m., Rhett and Cade were asleep on the couch. I covered them with blankets and went to the kitchen. Oh my God! Bags of rice and flour filled the pantry. The counter overflowed with instant foods. Even the wine cabinet was stuffed with scavenged drinks. A green laser shot into the room. I ducked under the table. The beam wrote SOS on the ceiling. This person either had no food or was blocked by infected. But I refused to help. No connection to us. Another mouth to feed. Too risky. The laser disappeared. I stood up. A green laser grid pattern shone on my face. Damn it, they know we're here. First floor. Second floor. Fifth floor. 4 people from the group the sweepers had left behind. They ran boldly toward our building. Great. robbers asking permission first. I watched from the open balcony as they struggled with the sealed entrance, then climbed the drain pipe to smash second-floor windows. I pulled out 2 tear gas canisters, pulled the pins, and threw them down with all my strength. Bang, bang. Ah, screams pierced the night. I closed the balcony door to avoid waking Rhett and Cade. Infected converged. The 4, blinded, had to retreat and fight for their lives. I noticed something interesting. The infected hated tear gas. Instead of gathering because of blood, they quickly left the area. These people are risking their lives to give me intelligence, I said, truly selfless. I noted that infected avoid irritants, then cooked braised pork belly and noodles to celebrate. I woke Rhett and Cade. They showed off their haul while we ate, then drowsiness returned. We said goodnight and crashed. The next month passed in tense peace. We stayed vigilant, rationing carefully despite our supplies. During the day, Cade's surveillance kept us updated. At night, we played cards and watched movies, always listening for trouble. The early infected gradually withered and desiccated. Human figures reappeared on streets. The corpse wall blocking our entrance ironically became protection. Through surveillance, we saw teams forming to fight the slow-moving, decomposing infected, until internal conflict arose. That clearance team is really capable, Rhett said admiringly. I had to stop his serve the people awakening. They're brave, but the infected are almost decomposed. Their clearing isn't necessary. Plus, if something goes wrong and a strong person transforms, that's a bigger threat. Their food looks terrible cold rations every day, and their relationships don't seem great. What if someone stabs you in the back? Rhett fell into self-persuasion. Suddenly, a piercing horn blast echoed. 2 people were arguing loudly, refusing mediation. Quick, come to the roof. Cade's voice was urgent. We didn't hesitate, running to the top floor. The moment we pushed open the roof door, we froze. 3 directions showed massive dust clouds rising. The ground trembled. In this dead city where no one dared make noise, one horn blast could attract far too many unknowns. The clearance squad noticed too. They stopped arguing and piled into vehicles to evacuate. From the rooftop, we could see the horde included infected animals. They surged toward the squad. The squad turned toward the route with fewest infected and fled. The route passed our complex. The narrow road couldn't contain them. They piled onto our perimeter fence. Crash. The fence collapsed. Infected flooded through. Another section collapsed. The squad's last vehicle couldn't dodge, getting swarmed. The other vehicles didn't look back. The vehicle below struggled, careening around. Bang. It smashed through another fence section. Masses of infected drowned it. Silence returned. Having lost their target, the infected stood dazed. Woof, woof. Zombie dogs circled our trash pile, barking. Dogs' sense of smell is orders of magnitude better than humans, Rhett said. They must smell people on the garbage. More infected gathered downstairs as the dogs howled. Look. On the other side, infected were stacking, climbing over fallen bodies, piling higher. Doesn't it look like that scene where zombies attack the city? I said. Cade, this is hardly the time for jokes. Relax. They can't get up here, Rhett said calmly. Average person can carry 3 times their body weight, but these infected don't put heavier ones at the base. Fat and thin are pushing together, the foundation can't support it. Sure enough, they'd climb, then fall back down. Still, when there are enough bodies compressed at the base, they'll build a staircase, Cade said. We fell silent. He was right. I haven't even had a boyfriend yet. Dying feels unfair. Rhett and Cade got infected by my pessimism. Let's eat comfort food. We'll need clear heads. I headed downstairs. I irritably pan-fried cheese dumplings, made spicy noodle soup, and stir-fried cheese and ham-fried rice. After Rhett and Cade gave up finding solutions, they came home to speed eat. After eating, I walked to the balcony to throw vases at random infected. If we're going down, everyone goes down. But as I prepared to throw, déjà vu struck. A month ago, I'd thrown tear gas exactly like this. Tear gas. I ran to the bedroom and grabbed the last 2 canisters. Rhett, Cade, come with me. We ran to the roof. The infected below were still pushing upward. Rhett has the strongest arm. When I say throw, use all your strength. I pulled the pin and threw toward the zombie dog pack. Bang! The explosion attracted all infected, who surged toward it. Rhett, throw. He pulled the pin and hurled it toward the climbing side. Another explosion. The climbing infected got attracted and rushed toward the blast. The tear gas disrupted the dog's sense of smell. After brief attraction, they quickly left the area. We're safe. We sat back to back, watching infected gather at the explosion site. Rhett, Cade, do zombie dogs eat? Don't. Ha 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 ha. We laughed the feeling of surviving disaster, like when your mom's about to ground you but gets a call and has to leave. On the 7th day of peace, a helicopter shattered the quiet. Attention all citizens. The government has developed appropriate medications and will distribute supplies tomorrow. The city has restored cell signals. Citizens in urgent need can leave messages on the platform. Please pay attention to your safety. As it flew away, the sound faded. The zombies followed it. I laughed as infected followed the helicopter. We have signal but no power. Cade tested outlets. I opened the message platform and typed, "Thank you for the government's help, but whose phone still has battery?" If I hadn't prepared that solar generator, I'd be furious. But government rescue meant infected reached controllable levels. The zombie era was ending. Following movie logic where protagonists do something stupid at the end, I dragged Rhett and Cade to the 3rd floor. We threw a chair downstairs, attracting a dozen wandering infected. Watching them bare their teeth, we leaned out and took a selfie. Days later, masses of helicopters flew in. Government operation began. Helicopters scattered white powder to accelerate decomposition, continuously airlifting survivors to bases. After several days, the city looked fog-descended, white and hazy. The helicopters stopped everyone who needed help had evacuated. The city entered restart countdown. Cade decided to help restore network infrastructure. He left with a helicopter. I worried going meant work, so I stayed home. I used the excuse of not wanting to burden the government. Rhett smiled. Then I'll stay with you. After all, I promised wherever you say east, I'll never go west. Finally, under medication's effects, infected rapidly decomposed. With collective efforts, the government restored basic city functions. Epilogue. Under government promotion, the city began operating again. Rhett maintained public order with his military background. Me? I continued relaxing at home. Work? Impossible. Never in this lifetime. I can only survive by staying home and consuming supplies. But I wasn't idle. I'd been researching housing prices. With more houses than people, the government had launched a distressed asset program cataloging uninhabited properties for sale under 30-year rehab liens to rebuild the tax base. Survivors already had homes and had spent money on supplies. Housing prices plummeted. A 1,500 square foot apartment cost only $20,000. A luxury duplex villa, $100,000. Smaller units went for thousands or even hundreds. After thinking long, I took out my savings $140,000 plus Rhett's nearly $100,000 and stormed the sales office. I'll take 4 of these villas and 25 1,500 square foot units on the 5th floor or higher. Full real estate mogul mode. After returning home, I told Rhett. I'd worried he might resent me using his money without permission. If it weren't for you, I might not have lived to spend this money, he said. Remember, I'll always stand behind you. What you say is what I think. Ugh, so cheesy. 3 years later, the city looked brand new, so clean the disaster seemed never to have happened. Continuous development attracted young people seeking opportunities. Our properties kept appreciating. My pre-apocalypse dream of being a landlady came true. Every month I move my fingers and make tens of thousands. Living the dream. Rhett made outstanding contributions during reconstruction. The government commended him. One day, I was watching TV when Rhett came home and sat silently beside me. I looked curiously. His cheeks were flushed, hands nervously picking at his knees. What happened? Did someone slap you? Why is your face red? Who dares hit my man? Let's go. I'll get revenge. Before I finished, he kissed me. I closed my eyes. When I opened them, a huge diamond ring appeared. I was moved as I picked it up. Wow, this diamond is huge. How much did this cost? Rhett's smile froze. He looked wounded. I leaned forward and deepened the earlier kiss. Put it on me. I'm willing. The end.